What's going on, Jake?
Kurt, what's up? How are you?
Fantastic. Still got a week left on my vacation, but we had to still get here on the making of Turbo Pit Fighter Sunday mornings on here YouTube. So we're really excited today to share our 6-page story teaser of Turbo Pit Fighter. This is the fourth sort of version that we're going to finalize. But yeah, I am really super excited at where we're at right now because I just want to immediately thank everybody we call Turbo Knots who've been following us since the beginning. Jake and I believe we are the only two guys working together on the same comic that's doing a podcast here on YouTube. If
The
there is
making of.
somebody else, the making of, if somebody else, if there are two other fine young or old persons putting a comic book together, please let us know about it. But Jake and I started this comic, 99, 2000. Life took us in separate directions. And here we are a year later, a year ago, bringing it all back to life. And we have a teaser, we're calling it. 6 pages of story, and then a front cover and some back matter. And this is where we're coming to a close on completing it and then being able to get it out in people's hands. We want to have a physical comic. Jake and I are very avid about physically having comics and reading them. So this one is definitely something to get into people's hands from there. But
Yep. And
as you can tell, I'm excited.
yeah, and if anybody's watching this and you're making a comic also, maybe you've done it before or maybe you're just starting out. It's really good idea to stop at some point, maybe the first 8 pages, 6 pages, whatever, and work them through, work them all the way through. Put all the word balloons in, all whatever the colorization process you're going to use, right? Finalize it, and then make a little zine out of it. Because when you do that, you will be establishing your process, and it's really important to know what your full process is all the way to the end as you're doing your comic, rather than figure it all out after you have the whole 28 pages or 32 pages or whatever. Most people just do 20 pages nowadays, unfortunately. But it has been good for us to do this because we're establishing our process for lettering, and that's a big part of it. Also, you need to finalize all the stuff that's going on the cover, all the stuff that's going on the back cover. This was a perspective back cover that I made last night when I was going crazy. So, um, a little bit. That's the point. A little bit of experimentation, you can do, and it helps because now, we're going back to the. I'm going back here to the rest of the comic, and it makes it a lot easier for us to say, okay, let's just do the word balloons right on the art in the first place, measure it out, get a good style, get it uniform. That was really helpful. And also the printing, right? Figure out what paper you're going to use. That affects the art, that affects the design, that affects the process. Figure out what size it's going to be. How many you're going to run off. You should have all that kind of in your plan. And then when you're making these little teasers, it's like a little promo that you have the whole time you're making it. So when you bump into somebody, meet somebody, say, hey, I'm making this, so that could help down the line for when you're ready to do your full promotions, to have everything lined up in a row.
Well said.
So,
Very well said. I would only add one more thing to that, which is reiterating working with others. I have an arsenal of techniques in art making that I'm very proficient at, but there are aspects in comics I suck at. Now, I'm not going to speak to Jake and his arsenal of techniques and skill set that he's proficient at, the ones that he sucks at. But the thing that Jake and I have always found, because we used to make comics as well as work in the graphic arts and illustration, animation in the 90s, all the way through the 90s, as a matter of fact. And that's what we found, is that Jake and I have a really excellent like kind of a threading of really positive, both having positive skill sets that come together that create a complete, sort of a complete artist, designer. So applying that to comics, I'm a big believer that it's very, very difficult, if not impossible, to make an incredibly awesome comic by yourself. God bless if you're making your way through it. I've done it. I'm going to keep doing it. Not trying to discourage anybody from it, but at the same point, if you have the opportunity to work with somebody else, you're going to learn a lot too. I have to say, I was the one that set up the idea of putting the 6-page teaser together. It was initially to be something physical to get out in people's hands. Now, I think it's been about 6 weeks that we've been kind of working on the physical printed material, or the material to go to print. And I did not think it was going to go this long, but I also have to say I have learned a lot. And I've also found that there's some intersections that I can improve on with already the things that I know how to do when it comes to, especially, we're hand lettering this comic. So last week, we printed out where we were at, and we went through and redlined it, and made a whole bunch of notes. Now, what had happened in the interim was Jake had to put sort of the first initiating edits forward before I could kind of get in behind and bring it to a close. So those started rolling in the last couple of days, and I was able to do a majority of what we had come across in last week's episode. So we really just want to go through, look at this, make sure that what was being requested in edits is coming to clarity, and then find the strategy of getting this completed by next episode, which is what I've asked Jake to help us get there. But with that being said, I'm just going to go ahead and jump in here and kind of just bark out some of the things that were there, and then we'll make an official check mark and keep going. So, Jake, you have supplied us with a brand new Doom Magazine logo, which goes up into the top left-hand corner. Thank you very much. I have noticed that with the printing, it did cut the horn tips off, so I am going to make a little adjustment to move down the Doom Magazine logo in the top left-hand corner. Do you have anything else to add to that?
No, it looks like you put it in there kind of large. I wonder, if you want to play around with the size, maybe that could go anywhere from 80% to what you have there, and just figure out whatever works the best on the page.
Okay.
Um, but that's cool. We're just staying black and white there. There is some room on the top of the book to put something, but I didn't put something. We might want to add something later. Like I was thinking like a filigree design of like some flames look like they're leather stitched into a book or something. But
Oh,
um,
okay.
for now, we'll just keep it there
No,
because
yep, yep.
we yeah, I mean, we do have to keep going on. You have to fight your perfectionism, especially if I have OCD. As a teacher, as I'm telling kids, like, if you're making a portfolio piece, you want to make it the best. You want to make it what they call undeniable, right? And for that, like, you don't just spend a day or two on it. You spend 2 weeks on it, right? So if you have a workflow where you're doing pages and pages and pages, you can't do that. But when you're starting out a comic, you want the cover to be special. You want the first couple pages to be really, engaging, right? And so you do spend a little bit of extra time. Once you get going on your workflow, you have to find a balance, right? You have to find a balance of, let's keep things moving, and then and also do the best product that we can. So looking back on these pages, one of the big things that Kurt and I went over last time was that some of these um, word balloons or these dialogue captions were really crowded. So we took a few words out and we shuffled it around so that there's going to be some more air in there.
Yeah, we've
I
got that segment coming. We got that segment coming. That's actually going to be the last thing we talk about, because that's what I'll have the majority of my time pinned to is redrafting those hand lettered dialogues. But then moving on to at the top, I put 6-page teaser story. Did we want to indicate that this was number one in some way, like the first 6-page teaser story? So then the next one we release would be the second 6-page teaser story. Or do we want to just kind of leave it as is and even leave this area up here open?
Maybe you want to say 1 to 6 page teaser story, so that the next one will be
One.
1 to 12, and then the one after that will be
Well,
one
no,
to
it'd be
18.
7 to 12. Oh no!
Oh,
Yeah, we did talk. No. You're right. That we haven't come to that final decision, but you had made a mention episodes ago that each teaser would actually expand 6 more pages. So as we're just
you could make
2 pieces of paper, we can add to it. That's a really good. That's a really good point. I forgot
yeah.
about
Maybe you
that.
want to say, I like the font you have, but the dark letters is fighting everything else. So
Yeah,
I would definitely kick that back. Um,
like
and
reduce 80%.
and why do you want to say
Right.
teaser story? Well, I thought you were into the turbo teaser,
Well, we got Turbo here, like Turbo Pit Fighter.
right?
I just had it. I had the notes. Just it. That's what the notes had said. 6-page story teaser. So I just humbled it in there.
Yeah, but story sounds like it could be prose though.
Oh, very good point. Very good point.
Six
Um,
page teaser. I would
what
just
about?
say,
How about comic? How about 6-page comic teaser?
right, or 6 page preview teaser, or maybe you want to just say preview teaser pages 1 to 6.
Mm, yeah.
Do you want to say turbo twice?
I don't.
You got the alliteration when you do that.
What do you mean? Oh, like six
Turbo
page turbo teaser
tur,
comic.
tur, turbo teaser pages 1 to 6. Um, but
Here. So turbo teaser. Say it again.
pages 1 to 6. That's as clear
One
as
through
possible,
six.
and it also promotional as possible because you have the alliteration,
Okay.
and you're also banging away on the turbo, the name.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Cool. Cool. All right. And then I did remove I removed the QR code, and it's on the back. And when we get to the back, we'll go ahead and review that.
Yep.
But are you good with the cover?
Well, is there? Yeah, there's nothing else that's changed, right? Let's
Nothing
see.
else. Yep. That were all the notes I had.
Yeah, let it fly, I guess.
All right. Cool. Cool. Cool.
I
Uh,
didn't know that was going to be the cover. I mean, that's just a teaser cover,
that's just the teaser cover. Yep.
right? But
Yep.
that's a valuable pinup.
That will be the most valuable pinup in our legacy. The Holy Grail.
Well, no, because I was
Which
thinking if the final,
your originals are just some ballpoint pen. That's all it was.
yeah,
I had taken like a bunch. It was a ballpoint pen kind of thing.
if we if the first issue is 28 pages of story, I think we have.
Ah, correct.
Yeah, so if we do 32 plus 4, we're going to have 4 pages of interiors to fill.
Well, we'll see. We'll get there. Once I think we get, I think we're going to try and get 3 teasers done, which would bring us to 18 pages. And maybe there'll be like a big push to just get to issue 1. So we'll see what happens.
Right.
It took us a year. It took us a year plus right now to get to this. So, and my
Yeah, I mean, in
memory as
eight.
it faults, I don't want to be standing somewhere 2.5 years from now arguing with you about. We had said in episode 67.
Oh yeah. Well, things change, but
Exactly. Exactly.
yeah, if we have an 18-page teaser out, that's almost as long as the average comic nowadays. If you
I
you
know.
know if you
I
count all the
know.
ads. So
I know.
with that
I'm
in
here to
hand, we
break
could
some
probably.
rules, Jake. I'm here to break some rules.
Yeah, I was gonna say with that in hand, we can use that as the promo, and then just proceed with our finishing stuff.
Right, right. So then going on to the interiors, the notes I have, the only thing that I've made an adjustment on the notes that I have is an 80%, 85% opacity of some of the text. So I'm going to kind of put this here and here. It's very difficult to see the difference, not only on camera, but this text here is shot down to 85%. That's 100% black. Now I can say in the
Bring it up to the
physical,
camera.
yeah, it's
Yeah, not it's very subtle.
it is,
So
but it could be just the right subtlety. I don't. I could try going a little further down, maybe 75, but
yeah, I would inch it down until we see, that it's getting too medium. But the other thing is that oven temperatures may vary. So just because you're programming of 70% Photoshop halftone dot doesn't mean that every printer in the world is going to be a reliable 70%. Like, look at my
right.
printer. I made everything so dark you can't even see anything.
Yeah, it's real flat.
So
What
it
kind of
depends
printer
on
is that?
it's a Brother laser printer.
It is a laser. Okay.
Yeah, so I get it depends. Are we doing this because a digital press will be a faithful 70% dot, but for the teasers and the zines and all that stuff, you have to have a test on a closed loop so that you have the output device that you're going to use as you're doing the input, right? Because for me, I'm gonna have to lighten up all these pages before I print them out on my printer. And if you might have a nice printer with a creamy paper and all that, so it just pays to have a final product in your hand so that you could adjust those tints to be optimum. What we want is for them to be a bit lighter, so that they're not the lightest thing, the darkest thing on the page. That the action is the darkest thing on the page, and that but it's still very readable, and it doesn't start to disappear, because little letters like that, once you start putting a white dot in there, can start to get chewed up. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Right. So not that far, but a little bit. And it's
Right.
just amazing that the halftone process is that. I mean, there's also like all these other kind of filters and screens they use nowadays. They use stochastic screening. I don't know if you know about that, but you're when you put a 70% tint in there, it is putting in a grayscale halftone dot, which is a certain size, a certain pitch, and a certain angle. There's just so much to this if you look under a microscope that you don't think about when you're just looking at it from 20,000 feet up.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So then the other 2 edits on page 2 are text edits I have not made. So that would be page 2.
Yeah, so one downside about this zine is that it changes our lefty righty pages.
Yeah.
And so, and we're planning so that this, when you open the book, there's an inside front cover, and that'll have
Correct.
whatever. Sometimes you want to make the inside front cover just like an end paper with just some blank pattern, some like mind numbing pattern, so that you bring the attention here. Sometimes you do it and you put all your information about your company and your people, and you show a photo and all that. So there's a lot of flexibility,
Well,
but
would
um,
it be crazy if we took this and put it here?
put what?
And then this would be here, the back matter, this part. The only reason I have this originally this way is because when these are in their bags and boards and on a rack at a show or what have you and display, since it's bagged and board, you don't really get to have the ability to flip through it. Now, when you flipped over, you would see this and go, "Oh, okay, blah 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 blah. All right, this seems kind of cool." But then what it would actually be is that would be the back page.
Yeah,
That so when they flip it over, they were like, "Whoa, to be continued." Wow. So I mean, we might actually want to play with a printout where it does do that. That would kind of be interesting. What do you think?
I don't think the zine is going to be boarded and bagged. Um, Number
Well,
one.
I'm gonna
Number
sell it.
two.
I'm gonna sell it. I'm gonna sell it boarded in bagged. Absolutely.
Oh well, if they come that way from the publisher, then they would be. Yeah.
Well,
But
that's no. We're the publisher. We're the publisher.
right, right. But I'm just talking in general terms for people. Yeah. If you do that, the scan code is in there and everything. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind sacrificing the righty lefty thing for the zine, for the first 8-page zine. I would say maybe
Okay.
by the 8-page zine, maybe you move the at that point you move the back cover in there, and then you have a new back cover.
That's a good
That'll
point. Good idea. All
that'll
right.
even
We'll keep
that'll
as
even
is.
yeah, that'll even cheat and give you only seven more pages that you have to add. But
Right.
um
Right.
yeah, so there's that. But for here, yeah, one note that I made that I don't think I went over with you was we do want to kick back the text. And then I think where I want to try to differentiate here on these pages where there's Turbo talking to herself versus the announcer.
Yes. Yes.
So we got to differentiate that. And if are we going to put a dot? Are we going to put a tint in the announcer's writing here?
There was a little bit of a discussion. Now, if you want to jump all the way over to the sixth page, I did do a screen to these up here, and these are what
Yeah, those are.
he's saying. Now, the
Oh,
reason
oh,
I only had notes for this because this was so white up here that we just said, let's throw a screen back there just to see what that looks like.
yeah. You just reminded me of something I was thinking about. What I think we might want to do is we might want to take a look at the panel and the darkness and see what it needs, right? And so at that point we can put the gray tints in here, right? Like, what does this need to have a really good page flow where your eye hits it, you go here, then you go here, and then
Right.
maybe you start reading here, or maybe you decide to look at all this other stuff. So, what would make this blend in, like with the environment best? So that's what I'd like to think about as we're deciding all these tints for these boxes, right? What would look best in the environment it's in, so that it blends in and it becomes part of the thing. Like here, this does need a whole lot, and so it
Yeah.
was good,
Yeah. You're right. You're right.
right?
You know
So
what? So the now here, this is what I'll add to it. So if you look at the taste of blood, this is the last thing that's being said by Turbo. Then you get this big, large block of text, which is the announcer. So this does need to be grayed out. If we're
Show
going to
me where you're
immediately
at.
make that right up here on page 3 here. So the last page on page 1, the last thing said is the taste of blood. That's turbo. This block, if you did not know as much as we do, is not turbo talking. So when you go from the taste of blood to and another lightning quick, it sounds weird. Like, why the hell is this lady saying the taste of blood, and it's completely disconjointed. But if we do it as a gray screen, then we've got something. Like, we've got a break in that transition.
Yeah, I almost wish we had the picture of the announcer there on the upper left.
And yeah. Well,
But no, it's okay. That if I mean, as soon as people start reading it, they'll get the context, and then we
well, I'm
show, and then see this is good. Like we show the announcer just 2 panels later. So if there's any
right.
kind of confusion, they're just carrying that for one page.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
but I would make that blend in. I would make that blend in. So we're talking about the text, and we're talking about the background, and we're talking about the line, right? Those are three variables that we have to play around with tints, right? Maybe you do a 20% tint with black type. Maybe you do an 80% tint with 10% type. I mean, you're the one that's going to be playing around with it, and you have to kind of squint and just decide what the best, what fits in the best. You don't want this thing to pop out and fight the art. You want it to blend in with the environment so that it complements the art.
The other thing we had mentioned last episode was maybe doing some kind of like jaggedy line around his box.
Yeah,
So there's something, even if I just go back to the pages and do exactly what I'm doing right now with a ballpoint pen, it's just to create the electricity in his voice from a megaphone, some kind of announcer kind of like thing, because once again, it's still very it's a hard it's just a very harsh
yeah.
break that the reader has to make inside the from here to here. That's super harsh without these kinds of effects going on right now.
Yes, I agree. There may be some kind of electric feel to the outer border. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Photoshop has anything built in like that, but
No, I'm still doing. Once again, we are doing all of this by hand, only up to a marginal 2 to 5% digital when we want to just get away with it that for that. But yeah, no. All right, so
so
I'll
yeah, so
have
you
something there.
yeah, you have new letters for that, and so you can play around with the tints and the borders, and
Yep.
these are like very subtle story enhancements, but we're trying to help the story along. We're trying to help the storytelling along,
Yeah.
with all these
Yeah.
little decisions. Um, yeah, so I think that we don't have
Hold
to
up.
do it like
Let's get back to this page because we have the Turbo Pit Fighter laying on the ground, which was just I literally just slid the PDF you sent. Excuse me, the PSD file you sent layers, Photoshop wise, over to here. So there is no opacity. This is 100%. I have your. This is your email you sent, and it does have an opacity, but do we want even more of a tilt?
right. Well, yeah, it does look like it's slightly tilting down. Maybe you do want to tilt it up towards the foot a little bit, but not too much. I mean, we want it to look like it's on an angle and it's in the floor. But
Yeah.
it's kind of drawn like that already. So
Yeah.
you could play around. It's also possible to skew it. So if
Yeah.
you angle and skew, I mean, you're not going to be skewing more than like a couple of percentage. But if you
Mm-hmm.
angle it up and skew it, You also want to stay like a good quarter inch from the border, you know, in all cases. But I gave it to you, as art that is on a transparent layer, so that you could make it a layer mask. And what I usually do in Photoshop is once I go into the quick mask mode and I load that in as my selection, then I use the drawing tools and I draw in, darkness. And sometimes you don't use it all, right? You might not want those little shading lines around the letter, around the outlines, because they might clash with the shading lines that you have there. You might have to go back into your bottom layer and delete some of those lines if they clash, right? But the outlines are important, and then you can use the dodging and burning of your or existing background once you have that loaded, right? I mean, like, what one thing that you have right there is, you see on the TU,
Yeah.
I would go in, yeah, I would go in and then use that shadow and go and then just impinge on the TU a little bit, to bring that shadow in. Yeah, but not too much, right? But just so the shadow's there, but right. And that makes it kind of blend in more. But yeah, I that's how I do it. I load it up in quick mask, and then I use my drawing tools. You have your dodging and burning onto your background, and you can bring that turbo pit fighter in from one layer in drawing tools onto your existing layer. um, for the Jake Jacobs and the credits there, I didn't really have time, but I also was hoping that we could emboss that into the ground, but I don't know if that would read well, so I didn't mess around with it too much. But
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
usually if
Yeah,
you what you have to,
did you try that? Did you actually try that? Because there seems to be some sort of funkiness with it.
well, what you have to do, it's two steps. What you have to do is you have to take the art, put it on a layer, and then, like, you maybe put it like 50% or 80% or something like that. Then you take the art again and you offset it as a selection, and then you fill that layer with 20%, or and so that the other layer becomes 70%, and that's how you get the embossed look. um I could show it to you on my white laptop sometime. But the how to make the
Yeah,
embossed look in Photoshop, it's like, you're making it look like it's dug out of the ground.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I got you. I got you. All right. Well,
Yeah.
I'll take that under advisement, and I will make something happen. So, and like I said, that whatever happens here can be altered in the future. So,
Yeah, I mean, even if we don't do this for the zine, I
yeah,
just want to keep those things in mind.
sure, sure. All right. So this page here was all just rewording phrases. So these were just areas that you were going to reword, and we're going to get to that after we actually do the walkthrough. So then moving immediately over to this
Wait,
page.
hold up. Did
What?
you did I tell you? So I'm looking at page 3 where it says too slow, no padding here.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So that that definitely can't be the same weight as the announcer. We should kick hers back. Right, the announcer's like loud, but this should be very
Okay,
kicked back, and
okay,
the outlines.
okay. Yep.
Right,
Because I'm
so
also
so
going to
so
put this is where the jagged edges come in again.
yeah, so you know what I'm really thinking is very low contrast. So you'll put a tint in the background, you'll kick back the letters and the actual border itself line, all low contrast, because these are her thoughts in her head. So they don't
Okay.
exist as much as the announcer's voice, right?
We'll see what happens. See, because these are we have a lot of them. Because you're saying that for all of them, then, right? Or is it?
Whenever No, these are just her talking to herself in the middle of the fight. Elsewhere
Yeah,
in the
because then he
comic,
has dropped his arms. Now I can punch his head.
Right. In this comic, we're gonna have her as the narrator. We're gonna have her thinking to herself in real time. We're gonna have other narrators. We're gonna have announcers. Like there's, it's gonna be all different. So wherever she's thinking to herself in the middle of this fight, just very low contrast, and like ghost it so that it's disappearing to an extent.
Okay.
And so
Anything
yeah,
else on this
that.
page?
Nope.
Okay.
You have some new text for the for like I think two or
Yeah, we're
three
gonna review
areas.
that. We're gonna review because I have some separate pieces of paper to bring in, and just get. I need verification on some of that stuff, so we'll go back over it with all of that as they're indicated in here. So yeah, here we go again with the 80%. I'm just making this as a note to knock these down. The only there was two things here. You'll notice I cleaned up the background on the left of her arm in the text that's being spoken by her.
Hmm.
This will also, do you think this also should be 80%, these two pieces of text, because of the flow?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, and
Okay.
I don't even know if 80 is soft enough, but you'll check it out
Correct. Correct.
because we're softening up the narration text on page one,
Uh huh.
but this is different. This is her internal dialogue text.
Yep. Yep.
So this could be even more subtle. Like it's just there. Like when somebody, if somebody has to work to read it because it's lighter and it's low
Yes.
contrast, that means you're sneaking into her head.
Yep.
You know.
I love it.
So these
I
are
love
like
it. The other note
subliminal
I
ideas.
had was that this was a little too unfocused, so I actually just took some white gouache and moved it over the top to just to hammer it back to a whiteness. I probably will even do some cleaning up in
Yep.
areas just around it, that kind of thing.
Yep.
Clean up and yep, rephrase. Going on to page. This is page 5, right? Yep, page 5. All right, so then once again, this is in gray boxes, and this is the announcer's voice, and
Yeah.
this
Those.
happened because we felt these white boxes against the white wall, which I wanted to be more high contrasty as a spotlight effect against her shadowed figure pummeling the heck out of Peter Payne.
Bef- yeah. Before you do all the boxes, why don't you email me the first one that you're electrifying, because
Okay.
I'm afraid, because when I teach kids about how to make wild style graffiti,
Mm-hmm.
I say you want to put a couple of bends in there to make it zigzaggy, like the feeling of lightning bolt, but not. But then they make it lots and lots of zigzags, and it becomes like earthquake style, and that is distracting from everything. So I think we need a low amplitude zigzag where there's only like like three zigs in the whole length of it.
You're saying like
And so,
this?
well, you could make it straight and then just have like a blip, right? Or you could make it constantly zigzag around. But if you make it look like everything is like, if it's very busy, I think that's going to detract. So we have to get just the right border, and then hopefully you can like really systematize it so it's just like cutting and pasting. It's not too hard. Right? If you get like a length of it, then you just have to add the length in. Um
I gotta do it. What I might actually do is uh, put the pages out, print the pages out in an opacity, like a 10% opacity, so I can actually do something to then bring as a transparency over the top of the original,
yeah,
just to see, just to
I
see,
have
because
I
it'll
have
also be
vellum.
able to. I can also trap in here if I wanted to put a little gray in the background with the text being above it on
Right,
another
that's
one. So
That's another option, is just keeping it as it is, but putting some gray lightning zigzag behind it too. Um, I
yeah,
just
yeah,
did some.
no, that could be the other thing that would happen is that over the black box, the squared box originally, then this grayed out kind of faint zigzag would be on top of it, and then the text would be in whatever kind of configuration that it would be in. So yeah, let me
Yeah.
play with it. I'm really excited about this as a
So
potential binging up.
I I have a pad of this. This is really great stuff. This is like
Oh, I
translucent
love vellum.
vellum,
Love vellum.
and
Yeah.
it's so high quality. It is great for pen and ink, and so I do a lot on
Yep.
this. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I go downstairs. I think I still have some downstairs. If I got enough to do these 6 pages, I'll do it on vellum,
Yep.
just to show the kids out there what it looks like.
Have all of our tools in the toolbox. I
Heck
have that
yeah!
ever since I was in
All right,
art
and
school.
then the rest of this is all text changes. Other than I did not make the balloon come out over here, and then I did add to be continued. So that is that same blocky text as a Photoshop font that I used over here. Um, but that is the story texting. I'd like to, like I said, jump all the way to the just back to page 1 of the story. Now you sent me this, and I just printed it out on 11 by 17. And this
Yeah.
was all, I want to make sure I'm putting these all in the right blocks. So I'm going to switch to a blue pen that I'm going to make indication of 1 to 1, 2 to 2, 3 to 3. So here we go. Yep. So right here and now, this is 1, and this is 1. So in other words,
Yep. That's pretty clerical.
oh, okay. So yeah, because then this is 2, which you have keep your eyes peeled originally. Then you put but keep your eyes peeled, gents.
Yeah.
Right? Yep.
I
Right.
spent a lot of time working this out, and I didn't do it with you, so I had to make all
No,
my
you
own
did this on your
decisions.
own, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's
like
fine. That's fine. I'm
ordinarily
not
we would
gonna.
do that on the air.
But I'm hoping that what you've done is obviously helped us in the world of compacting the
Well,
text
yeah,
to
that
the
was
box, because
yes.
that was the biggest thing we were having a problem. So number 3 here is yes, boys. This female is surely one. Yes, boys. This is right here. So this is 3, and then here we have you, and she's laying it on thick. She's laying it on thick. This is 4, 4.
Be careful
She's
with that
whipping
pen.
his
You're
head
touching the
around.
thing. You're
What
touching the
touching? What
thing.
thing?
You're touching the
What thing?
text. You're
No, no,
touching
no.
the
I'm not doing.
actual
This
thing.
is notes. This is notes.
Oh, okay.
Here's the text. I'm gonna actually
Uh,
hand letter them. This is the text, and I blew it up
oh,
bigger. So I'm gonna
no,
do. These
smart.
are gonna.
Oh, yeah,
Oh
wise,
yeah,
wise.
this is 2. Yep, yep, yep. So then we're gonna see a really sweeter contrast in his announcing and the quality of the handwriting. So I'm super excited about this, Jake. So these are just notes. This is all note taking. She's whipped his head around. This is 5. This is 5. And then I have, and he's just lumbering. That's down here, which is 6, 6. And then no surprises. Where'd that come from? Oh, okay. So no surprises. Where's the and it's all academic?
Did I do that one?
Maybe you didn't. Maybe you're keeping
Yeah.
it. Can you double check your
Yeah,
notes to make sure? Because at this point, I
yeah,
might
if it's not
actually end
there,
up redoing that text.
it's not
Let me check my
there.
notes here. Let me check my notes. Yeah, I didn't even have any indication here that you were changing, but you did change this one, which is totally cool. I'm just going to rewrite. I'm going to make a note here. Letter box to left.
If you could, so I'm looking at your screen. It's kind of cut off on my screen, but there's some things going on here where the text are is not straight, and I think the box might be off, or the text is off, or one or the other. But
Right,
it's kind of like going uphill. That's one example, and the other thing that I see that looks really weird is like right here, right? This second line. I know all this text is like centered to itself, but
right,
for some reason it's not centered to the box. So this second line here, you have enough room for both sides, but it's not distributed.
right.
So if this
Well,
middle line
yep,
could be kicked over,
yeah.
I don't know how it gets like that, but if you could be
Well, that
careful
I had
about
said
that.
last episode, yeah, in last episode when I'm hand lettering that small, and I have a tendency to start moving out just because of the flow of my hand writing. So
Uh
what
huh.
would happen? Then I would come back in Photoshop once this was scanned and it was a layer over here. I'd grab that line and then cut it and nudge it. So some
Right.
of that is,
Perfect. Yeah.
that's the weirdness. That's the weirdness of nudging between, the handwritten and then the overlay.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Just try to catch that, because if you have air on both sides, then those boxes might not have to be changed.
All right. So then you have this here, this one here. Get this in screen. You have hey, stick around for our main event. Stay tuned for our main event coming up in mere moments. So that is 8. That's the re-edit here, 8. And then, yes, it's the unbridled. I do not see that having been
Yeah,
rewritten.
that one's yeah. If you don't have it, then it's not changing.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'm just going to make a note. Well, yeah.
I mean, if you
Yes. It's.
if you want to just clean
Well, I
up the
want to see what
lettering,
happens. Yeah.
because
Not
yeah, because they're all
changed.
gonna have new borders, so you might want to do those like left and
Yeah,
right
it's gonna
things.
be. It's gonna be more work, but that's okay, Jake. I can handle it. Um, this is 9. This is 9, but our first, please direct your attention. That's right in addition. That's right in addition. 10, 10. Then we jump all the way over. Nope. Then we jump over to here. 11 is Ain't She Something Gents? Ain't She Something Gents? And
Ain't
then
she sweet?
kind of gives you the tingles, boys, don't it? This is 12. And then oh yep, here we go. And we're underway here. 13, 13 as the chieftain deals with a mashing blow. And then I don't see. Okay. Okay. So this sure I am sweet or sure am sweets. That's a turbo saying, and then she don't. What's she don't? I don't see. Oh, she don't is down here. 15, 15, and then she's a little snot. 16, 16. Okay, that is, let me just say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And as I said, I have printed these out larger than I did the first run because I had just basically established them in a layer on 13 by 19 originals and then printed them out at like 11 or 12% opacity and then hand ink. But now I'm giving myself some more space to breathe in hand lettering. So I'm excited to see what that contributes to our inking here. All right. Before we do the final last page, do you have anything else on your mind or in your notes about pages 1 through 7 before we get to here?
Nope.
Forever hold your peace.
Forever,
So,
yeah.
all right. So, if you noticed, I did some drastic cutting up. You sent me this, which you said you had done last night. Um,
Yeah.
and this is insane, just so you understand. I'm just going to use the polite
Yeah,
term
that's the point.
insane.
That's the point. That's the
Now,
point, to
if you
convey
notice,
insanity. Yeah.
if you notice, I'm literally I just cut out a couple that we would replace turbo. This is not factual. This is suggestions. We would replace this with this the Turbo Pit Fighter logo here would be replaced by Step into a Dystopian Future. As I said in my email response to you about this text, because we need a QR code, a space. So this is real estate that's needed, and you'll notice that here. That's our
Okay.
QR code. I also this is very difficult to read. This is impossible to read. I know these are just kind of like, let's have each of the blocks of text have its own font feel, but I super love this as a design element, as I grabbed and brought in here. And I do believe that what's being said is so teasing in the way of just like the insider information about our post-apocalyptic world. We don't want people to go to hellclaw.com quite yet, not but and as I'm seeing right now, this is cut out, so it's got to get moved up. um but podcasting every Sunday, that's the whole reason for the teaser, is to get people to come and visit us on here on YouTube as the podcast goes. So podcasting every Sunday, our comic making process. Join us on YouTube at Pit Fighter.
So yeah. All
I
right.
will let you give us a further explanation of what your thoughts are for you know what you've said here.
Well, yeah, I know it's hard to read. That's on purpose. This has a zine feel to it, where it's like, you could tell that the creator is putting a lot, cramming a lot of stuff in there. Um, I know that 99% of people won't read it, but
We can't.
it does. Right. All right. Well, that's legibility. I got that. But I did want to give a lot. I think the main driver is I wanted to give a lot of hints about the plot.
Yeah.
This language is very like kind of like a radio spot, like
Yep.
buckle up for the unforgettable thrill, right, all that. So yeah, the volume is too much. Got it. But I would like to try to get out a couple of these plot things. You're laying breadcrumbs at that point. So if you could, let me see side by side your new one and see where we can go from here, because I'm not 100% married to my design for all the practical reasons that you spoke about, but I would like to, like, all right, so on your, I can see mine. So on yours, um first of all, how would we letter this up on the top? Because how about if we could somehow keep the existing Turbo Pit Fighter lettering, shrink it down, um right? Could that shrink down and be all one line, replacing the typeset?
You mean like get up here, like Turbo Pit Fighter up here? These two pieces of text,
If you
and
grab
then
those,
this
if you
would be
grab,
down
well,
here, and this would be underneath it. But you already have Turbo Pit Fighter in here. If there was anything, this line of text, step into a dystopian future would go here. Then
Right.
this would go in here. I'm running out of
Right.
ink already.
Right. So
That would
that's
be
that.
the ultimate save of the Turbo Pit Fighter here, and then trying to bring in this and an adrenaline pumping sci-fi movie escapade. I love that. I mean, that is super catchy. Then
Right.
then
So
it's
what?
go ahead.
Yeah. So you're taking the existing lettering and you
Nah.
just have to compact it to make enough room for those three lines,
Yep.
right?
Yep. Yep.
This is also kind of like a psychedelic movie poster where everything is just fitting in, right? Everything's melting and fitting in, right?
Yep. But I
So
mean, my own approach to this would be literally in Photoshop trimming this down, like grabbing all of the text, right? Then shrinking it down, and so then there's white space in here
yeah,
for step into and then underneath it would be an adrenaline. Now I would retype this using a
yeah,
similar font. I might even use like some sort of like typewriter font where somebody has hand typed in, what you want to be said there.
yeah,
And maybe
yep,
even like kind of disconjuncting,
yep,
of the type, words and letters.
yeah. Got it. Yep.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Um,
Cool.
on Turbo Teaser, you can see I kicked it back.
Oh, well, you threw more. I can do gray again too. Like I
Yeah.
can
Well,
do my
yeah, I just kind of grabbed it with the wand, with the magic wand, and then
right.
I left a black shadow, but it's much lighter. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'll
And
I'll I'll do. Yep.
okay, then um, I kind of like that gap there where we have some text pointing into her, and that does give you, and you still have that gap there. Um, so maybe we can
Well,
take some of the text that we're cutting out, and we could, right. Why are you showing me that?
showing you what? Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry. Sorry.
yeah. So that gap right under Turbo Teaser, maybe we could take some of that plot stuff and put that in there because I like the way that it was angled and it was pointing right to her.
Sure. Sure. Now,
Um,
do you want to do like a chunk of this? Buckle up for an unforgettable cinema thrill. Future where anarchy clashes with radioactive blood.
yeah, that's cool.
All
Yeah,
right.
that'll fit
So,
nicely.
yep.
Um,
Buckle up.
but remember, it's angled, definitely angled up. It's like it's
Yep.
shooting right into her hip. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And the QR code. So the QR code has nothing above it. Maybe that's where we want to put Doom Magazines Presents or something.
Now we already got that on the front. I mean, I can push this again. This can go back in there. This can go over here.
Yeah, or else it could just be a Doom Magazine's presentation in a different font. Or if that, yeah, that might fit right there. Um,
Right?
if you want to do the branding thing,
Keep it branded.
okay. And then we're taking that fiery thing, but um, yeah. So when I see whiz bang, I cringe. No whiz bang.
Where's Whiz Bang?
Whiz bang is the font.
Oh,
So
yeah, 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 yeah. Well, once again, this would be hand, like I did before. I would hand letter that.
right. So if you hand letter that, but not whiz bang though, right?
Okay.
Like what you had on the first thing is good. Like some serif thing is good. But
Yep.
if you could, you see how that space is kind of like angled up. So
Yep.
once you have it lettered, take it in Photoshop and use the transform tool to make it
Yeah.
perfectly fit that space. Just pull
Okay.
the edge, and that'll just distort all the letters so that it fits perfectly in that space.
Okay.
And then the last thing is the call to action. I'm against having that long YouTube URL there, and also naming YouTube. I think that's distracting, and it brings us into the age of YouTube and 2023, and those are all negative things. How about if we just had a huge landing box on hellclaw.com right on the first page that says click this, and then you're into the YouTube channel with a
Okay.
big, I mean, we could literally.
I'm gonna throw my knowledge down. I hear you on your uh, input about bringing in 2022 and YouTube and all of that. Now, just so you know, to get somebody to click something, there is, if it's good enough, there's a 70% chance that they'll click. When you click that, when they click to something else, when they click to another page, having left wherever it is, now the QR code is going to take them exactly there. So this,
Right.
everything I say,
So
this is really going to do all of the work. The
that's going straight to the YouTube
verification,
channel.
the verification is that you have come to at YouTube at turbopitfighter.com. Now, to get them to click from hellclaw.com to YouTube, you're now going to have a 30% chance. We want
Well,
a
if you
hundred percent chance that if anybody takes the time to even use the QR code, which is really going to be 99% of the time
No, the
than
QR
not.
code goes. No. I think you're misunderstanding. The QR code goes to the YouTube link.
Correct, correct, correct.
But if you're gonna have somebody type, you think they're gonna type in all those
No, 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 no.
underscores
I
and all?
don't. I don't.
No.
It's a
So
verification.
if they
It's
are,
a
so if they're gonna
verification
type,
of the QR code. It's just a verification, and we could put language there. The thing about Hellclaw is, and I have to be very, very upfront with you, Jake, is it's a non-secured WordPress website, which I
right.
abhorred. It's not. They load notoriously funky. They also are down at times. They take a long time to load, and people don't go there. There'll be a time when we will either have a hellclaw.com website on Squarespace or a Doom Magazine Publishing Comics.com website, which would then become a part of that. I'm not saying we can't put this on here. I'm just trying to make it very known that this is not going to be the official landing page. This QR code going to YouTube is our official landing page for this teaser.
Yeah. Right. But we need a forwarding URL that's short that somebody could type in 2 seconds. So how
Nobody's going to type
like
anything. That's what QR codes for. Nobody's typing anything anymore. This line of text here is to verify this QR code. So I
if
have to put
somebody
something in here. Yep. I just have to write in here QR code, verified or whatever it is, just to get people to understand that that's where this is going. Because a lot of people are going to look at that and go, I'm not going to scan that. I don't know where the fuck that's going.
right.
It's a huge amount of trust that we're ensuring
So
that
you're
you and I are
saying
cool.
right, but you're saying this will take you right to our podcast, right?
Yeah.
Right. Right. So with that, like I don't I want to try not to break character here. On the back page, this is supposed to be like a big exploitational thing and everything. And then
What's
when
the
you
character?
say,
I don't understand what the character is. What character is being broken? Being
well,
cool?
we have a feeling
Being
that this
punk
is a
rock?
zine. This is a zine, and it's also like a moment in time. Yeah, I mean it reminds me of my first comic I put out where it had a thing in the back. If you want to email me, go to 7793572 at compuserve.com. You know,
Now, do you think this is just too corporate? Is that what you're trying to say against like being punk
I don't
rock?
mind the barcode. I don't mind the barcode on the
QR
back
code. Okay.
because it's very functional. And
Right.
if somebody does that, they'll go right to the YouTube thing. I would just, I think how we say
But
it.
you're saying people are going to type in hellclaw.com. You're saying that that's what you're hoping people are going to do.
If somebody doesn't have their phone handy and they're at their computer, or they have a phone but they don't want to, they don't do barcodes,
Right.
but it's, I just wanted to make it easy, and we could make it so that, you go to hellclaw.com, and then boom, the first thing you see is this picture, and you click on it and you're in the YouTube channel. So, I don't I just, it's another way to get there. I mean, they could also
All
just
right.
Google Turbo Pit Fighter, right? The best thing is to
This is
Google
true.
Turbo Pit Fighter, because
This
then
is
you're
true.
you're you're also feeding us to Google, right? But
Yep.
yeah, and so that's what I was thinking, is like get a lot of these like things. I want people to know that we have an action packed storyline, that goes and goes and goes, right? And so that's what I laid all that type in there for. So we have all that language we could use in other things, but just for laying this out and getting us done for the zine.
Yep.
Um, so you're taking care of that white space above, and then you're going to make like a triangular trapezoidal shape of the bottom text, which is our call to action, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So
All
yeah,
right, and what?
what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen is basically this is all in my hands. So this everything here is this is stuff that I have to do in order to get us closer to 100% completion in this turbo teaser than anything. As I make through the rest of this week, I will most definitely be landing on Friday and or Saturday to make this happen, which means it will get to you before we go live on Sunday. And there might be a
Mhm.
conversation that we'll have offline about something to tweak it. But really, next Sunday, we want to basically do nothing but promote the fact that the first turbo teaser is complete and ready for purchase.
Wow, I'm exhausted. So what's the final text going to be on at the bottom of that page?
You're saying this page here.
Yeah, I
I
can't read it.
want to
It
do
says podcasting every Sunday. Our
every
comic
Sunday
making.
our comic make process. Join us on YouTube.
Right. So I would just say, uh, join us every Sunday online. Yeah, maybe.
Why can't we say YouTube? Why
Okay.
is that? I mean, I don't know. The more you spend trying to get people to think about what it is they're supposed to do, the quicker people just don't do anything. What in my
Okay.
business it's called
So
a
you
call
can
to
you
action. You want to have a call to action. QR code's a call to action. We want to verify that we're not trying to steal your information or have you click something that's not turbo related and sell you some crypto. But here it's really
okay.
just
So
about
join us every Sunday on YouTube for the making of Turbo Pit Fighter.
okay.
And then
I'm
yeah,
fine with
and
putting this little hell claw this thing. If we have room
let's try
and
it.
I can stick it
Yeah,
in the
let's try
in
it.
the quarter, that's fine.
Let's
That's fine.
try it. Yeah, I mean,
I'm fine with that.
I don't mind upgrading my platform and everything, but right now
Okay.
all we need is just a forwarder, just a pointer to the YouTube channel, right?
Correct. Correct.
Right. So let's do that for now.
All right. Cool. All right. Well, look,
All
we
right.
are over an hour, and we have definitely made some amazing edits
Oh wait, one
again.
last thing. One
Yeah.
last thing. Do you see what I did with the leg
Huh?
under the post-it? Yeah.
Huh? I did the same
Could
thing.
you like continue her leg so it just fades out behind the thing?
Oh yeah. Yep. Yep.
Okay,
Let me just make a note.
you got it.
All right. All right. Well, I just want to say to all those that made it this far, thank you so very much. Obviously,
This is
we're
what it takes,
hitting some
folks.
bells. Exactly, Jake.
Detail
I
oriented.
and I'll correct me if I'm wrong, but this is so nerdy. Yet I get obsessed with this kind of stuff. I love process. I love things that are not complete in a sense. I know product is the king in our capitalist society, and we want to make something that's so awesome that everybody in the world wants a copy, and we all retire on yachts in the Caribbean. But the truth of it is, as a creative person, no matter if AI or technology is seeping into the commerce part of it, the creativity of the human is really what it's all about. And what creativity is really the free form that Jake and I just rolled through. Now, the cool thing about it is Jake and I have an easy way and a history with each other to roll through these edits. If Jake and I were just having met over the last year or so, this probably could be a little more contentious.
There's a
You know,
sniffing out process.
yeah,
Yeah, when you're
exactly,
collaborating, and
exactly.
and
But
and and folks should also know there's a huge there's a huge advantage to working with others. Many hands makes lighter work. When you think about like the Defenders comic coming out, there's probably 20 people that are working on that.
yes, yes,
And then the writer Steve Gerber, when he sees the final product on the stands, he's like, "Oh my God, who did that? Oh my God, they
yeah,
changed this. Oh my God, who put that in?" Right? But on the other hand, they're getting out a comic every month or every 2 months,
yeah,
and so
yeah,
that's an incredible breakneck thing for a creative endeavor. So
yep,
what we're doing here is very different. It's a little special, but we really think this is a great art form. It's sequential art. It's graphic novels, and when you have total control, you have to go over every little P's and Q's. You have to go over every little detail before it gets printed. So that this is the process that we're trying to show here, and we're also trying to celebrate that Kurt and I get along most of the time pretty well. But when you look at Lennon and McCartney and Jagger and Richards and Plant and Page, you see that there's always bumps on the highway, and so it's a little bit of luck, it's a little bit of a marriage. But if you're collaborating with somebody else, you're getting something out of it, and so compromise, right? And so make a version of your story that you're willing to be flexible on. Otherwise, if you want to keep that one story that's so important to you, then do everything yourself and you'll have total
yeah.
control, but it'll take you forever.
Amen. And with that being said, Jake, let's let these people get back to reading comic books, making them if they do, and I will see you next Sunday.
Yes, sir. Take care.